If you feel bloated even when you barely eat, you're not imagining it. Bloating isn't just about how much food is in your stomach. It's often about gas, fluid shifts, and how your gut moves and reacts. That's why you can wake up puffy or feel tight after a small meal. For some people, the belly looks bigger, but body fat hasn't changed. For others, it's pressure, cramping, or that balloon feeling by late afternoon. The key is this: bloating is a symptom with multiple causes, not a character flaw. And eating less can sometimes make the underlying drivers worse. In this breakdown, you'll get a clear mental map of the most common reasons. You'll also learn simple ways to narrow down what's most likely for you. No extremes, no fear of food, just practical explanations you can actually use. Moving to slide 2. First, let's separate two things people mix up: bloating and weight gain. Weight gain is mostly stored energy, usually fat, and it changes slowly. Bloating can change within hours. It can be gas building up from digestion or water being pulled into the intestines. It can also be your abdominal wall tightening, which makes the belly look more distended, even without extra content. A useful clue is timing. If your stomach gets flatter in the morning and worse at night, that often points to digestion, fermentation, or daily habits. If it's random and painful, sensitivity may be a bigger factor. If it's tied to your cycle, it may be hormones and fluid. The goal isn't to obsess over your belly. It's to notice patterns that help you choose the right next step. Because the fix for gas is different from the fix for water retention. Moving to slide 3. One of the biggest reasons you can bloat on small amounts of food is gut sensitivity. Some people have a normal amount of gas, but their intestines feel it more. Studies on disorders like IBS show that visceral hypersensitivity, basically a more reactive gut, can make normal digestion feel uncomfortable. The gut can also coordinate movement differently. If food and gas move slowly, pressure builds. If movement is spastic, you can get cramps and distension. Stress can amplify this, because your brain and gut are tightly connected through nerves and hormones. That doesn't mean it's in your head. It means your nervous system changes gut function in real ways. So if you're eating tiny meals but still feel swollen, the issue may be how your gut processes the meal, not the size of the meal. Moving to slide 4. Another common driver is fermentation, your gut bacteria breaking down certain carbs and producing gas. This is where FODMAPs come in. FODMAPs are specific carbohydrates that can be poorly absorbed in the small intestine. They pull water into the gut, then get fermented in the colon. That combo can cause both bloating and pressure. And here's the twist: high FODMAP foods can be healthy foods. Think onions, garlic, apples, wheat, beans, and some dairy. You can eat a small salad or a small bowl of yogurt and still bloat if the ingredients are a trigger for you. This isn't a reason to fear these foods forever. It's a reason to test patterns. If bloating reliably follows certain foods, you may be dealing with malabsorption and fermentation, not overeating. Moving to slide 5. Let's talk about constipation because it can hide in plain sight. Many people assume constipation means not going for days, but you can go daily and still be constipated if the stool isn't fully passing. When stool sits longer, bacteria have more time to ferment leftovers, which increases gas. Also, a backed-up colon can physically reduce space, so even a small meal feels like it has nowhere to go. Dehydration, low fiber, sudden high fiber, and low-calorie dieting can all slow things down. So can ignoring the urge to go or having a rushed morning routine. A simple check is consistency and ease. If you strain, feel incomplete, or alternate between hard and loose stools, constipation may be part of the picture. Addressing motility often reduces bloating more than cutting food. Moving to slide 6. Sometimes bloating is less about what you eat and more about what you swallow. Air. This is called aerophagia. It can happen with fast eating, talking while chewing gum, smoking, drinking through a straw, or lots of carbonated drinks. Even healthy habits like constant sipping on sparkling water can add up. Another sneaky one is mouth breathing, especially if you have nasal congestion. Air doesn't always come back up as a burp. It can move through the intestines and create distension later. If your bloating comes with frequent burping, gurgling, or a lot of pressure soon after eating, air swallowing is worth considering. The fix here is often behavioral, not dietary. Slowing down and changing a few habits can reduce bloating surprisingly fast for the right person. Moving to slide 7. If bloating seems to appear after you cut calories, there's an important reason. Eating very little can change gut motility. Your digestive system partly runs on rhythm and volume. When intake drops, movement can slow, which can worsen constipation and gas retention. Low intake can also increase stress hormones in some people, and that can affect the gut-brain axis. Plus, when you're under-fueling, you may rely on diet foods like protein bars, sugar alcohols, or high-fiber additives. Those can be very bloating for some people, even in small amounts. So the irony is real. Trying to eat less to feel flatter can backfire. A more useful approach is to look at food quality, timing, and tolerance, rather than just shrinking portions. Your gut often prefers consistency over extremes. Moving to slide 8. Food intolerances are another big category, especially lactose and fructose. Lactose intolerance means you don't have enough lactase enzyme to break down milk sugar. The lactose reaches the colon, bacteria ferment it, and bloating follows. Fructose malabsorption is similar. Fructose isn't absorbed well, so it pulls in water and gets fermented. What makes this tricky is dose. You might tolerate a little milk in coffee, but bloat from a full glass. Or tolerate a small apple, but not a large smoothie with multiple fruits and honey. Also, reactions aren't always immediate. They can show up hours later, which makes the trigger harder to spot. If dairy or high fructose foods reliably line up with symptoms, it's a clue worth testing carefully. The goal is identification, not lifelong restriction by default. Moving to slide 9. Hormones can cause bloating even when your diet is stable. Many people notice swelling and tightness in the days before a period, and sometimes around ovulation. That's often fluid retention driven by shifts in estrogen and progesterone, plus changes in how the gut moves. Salt and carbs can also change water balance, but that doesn't mean they're bad. It means your body stores glycogen, and glycogen binds water. Another hormonal factor is chronic high stress, which can influence cortisol and change both appetite and digestion. If bloating follows a predictable monthly pattern, tracking it can be more useful than cutting random foods. And if bloating comes with major cycle changes, severe pain, or symptoms that disrupt life, that's a good reason to talk with a clinician to rule out other issues. Moving to slide 10. Let's cover the abdominal wall, because it's an overlooked piece. Some people experience something called abdominophrenic dyssynergia. In simple terms, the diaphragm and abdominal muscles coordinate poorly in response to gut sensations. Instead of the belly gently bracing inward, the diaphragm pushes down, and the abdominal wall relaxes outward. The result is visible distension, sometimes dramatic, without a huge increase in gas. This is more common in people with functional gut disorders, and it can be influenced by posture, breathing habits, and nervous system state. If your belly looks distended, but you don't feel particularly gassy, this may be relevant. The takeaway is that bloating can be mechanical, not just digestive. Approaches like breathing retraining and gentle core coordination work may help some people. Moving to slide 11. Now let's talk about your healthy staples that commonly cause bloating in small portions. Big salads, raw cruciferous veggies, beans, lentils, protein powders, and high-fiber cereals can all be rough, especially if your gut isn't used to them. Fiber is beneficial, but it's also fermented. If you jump from low fiber to high fiber quickly, gas can spike. Some protein powders also contain gums, inulin, or sugar alcohols that trigger bloating. Even sparkling water plus a high-fiber meal can be a perfect storm. The point isn't to avoid fiber, it's to titrate it. Cooked vegetables are often easier than raw. Smaller servings spread through the day can be easier than one giant bowl. If you're bloated on clean eating, it may be the type and load of fermentable ingredients, not a lack of willpower. Moving to slide 12. So how do you narrow this down without spiraling into food fear? Use a simple, calm experiment. First, track timing for a week. When bloating starts, when it peaks, and what else is happening, like stress, sleep, or your cycle. Second, pick one variable at a time. For example, slow down meals for 7 days, or remove carbonated drinks for 7 days, or swap raw veggies for cooked. Third, look for the 80% pattern, not perfection. If symptoms improve clearly, you learn something. If nothing changes, you move to the next likely driver. Also, watch for red flags: persistent vomiting, blood and stool, unexplained weight loss, anemia, severe pain, or symptoms that wake you up at night. Those deserve medical evaluation. For most people, though, a structured approach beats random restriction. Moving to slide 13. Let's wrap this up into a practical checklist. If you bloat when you barely eat, think sensitivity, fermentation, constipation, swallowed air, hormones, and muscle coordination. Start with the easiest wins. Slow your eating, reduce carbonation, and build a consistent bathroom routine with enough fluids. Then consider whether certain high FODMAP foods, lactose, or sugar alcohols line up with your symptoms. If you've been undereating, consider that your gut may do better with steadier intake and less diet processing. And if your bloating is severe, persistent, or paired with red flags, don't self-diagnose. Get checked. If you want, share your pattern in the comments. Does your bloating feel more like gas pressure or more like water retention? A or B? And if you found this helpful, subscribe for more clear, evidence-based breakdowns. This information is not a substitute